Chris Martin, the voice behind some of the most emotional anthems of our time, quietly slipping into a small art gallery in New York. He's not there for publicity, no cameras, no entourage. Across the room, Dakota Johnson is laughing softly at something the curator just said, unaware that someone is watching her. In that single moment, something shifts. It's not dramatic, not cinematic, it's simple, human, and yet, it's the start of a story neither of them could have planned. Chris wasn't chasing headlines anymore. After years of global tours, heartbreak, and the constant hum of the spotlight, he had learned to value quiet moments. Dakota, too, had been navigating her own path, balancing the weight of Hollywood expectations with a fierce sense of independence. They didn't meet on a red carpet or through some grand event. It was a casual introduction through mutual friends, the kind that normally fades into polite small talk. But this time, it didn't. At first, their connection existed in small pockets of time, a coffee here, a late-night walk there. They weren't posting each other on social media. They weren't announcing anything. If anything, they seemed almost protective over whatever was growing between them. And in a world where every whisper gets amplified into a headline, that silence only made people more curious. It wasn't long before hints began to surface. Dakota spotted at a Coldplay concert, tucked into the shadows of the VIP section. Chris seen leaving a low-key restaurant in Malibu just minutes after Dakota. Little moments that, when pieced together, started to form a picture. But the truth? It was so much more than just a fling. Chris found something rare in Dakota, someone who could make him laugh without trying, who understood the loneliness that can exist even in a crowded room. She wasn't dazzled by the fame, she looked past it. And Dakota found in Chris a softness that's hard to find in an industry that constantly demands you be tougher, louder, bigger. He didn't just listen to her, he heard her. Of course, it wasn't all effortless. Their schedules pulled them apart, Chris playing to sold-out arenas in Europe while Dakota filmed on the other side of the world. Weeks would pass with only video calls and quick voice notes. There were moments when it would have been easier to let it go. But somehow, they didn't. Every time they reunited, the connection felt stronger, more certain, and then, the rumors of a breakup. For months, the two were rarely seen together. Fans speculated endlessly, had the distance finally caught up with them? Social media lit up with theories, but neither Chris nor Dakota gave a single confirmation. Until one day, they appeared again. No big announcement, just a simple, quiet outing. Holding hands. Smiling. As if to say, we're still here. From that point on, they stopped trying so hard to stay hidden. Dakota was seen with Chris's children. Chris attended her film premieres. They began to exist together in the public eye, not as a spectacle, but as something steady. And maybe that's why it worked, because they weren't performing for anyone. Through it all, fans couldn't help but wonder, was Dakota the muse behind Chris's newer, warmer music? The lyrics hinted at joy, at a kind of peace that hadn't been there before. Chris never confirmed it, but he didn't need to. Sometimes, the truth is written between the lines. Now, years in, they remain one of the most intriguing couples in Hollywood, not because they're the loudest, but because they've mastered the art of keeping something precious safe. Whether the next chapter brings wedding bells or just more years of quietly choosing each other, their story is proof that in a world obsessed with spectacle, love can still grow in the spaces no one is watching. But behind this sweet and steady love story lies a dynamic few people truly understand. Chris and Dakota, though calm and easygoing in public, have a deeply intentional approach to their relationship. They've always known that in the entertainment world, love can be fragile. That's why, from the very beginning, they made a pact to talk through the hard things, even when it's uncomfortable. One of the clearest tests of that commitment came when Chris embarked on a nearly year-long world tour. His schedule was relentless, jumping from continent to continent, with barely any days off. Dakota, on the other hand, was locked into a demanding film project that kept her on remote sets for months. Physical distance became their reality, with communication reduced to quick calls or stolen text messages in between work. Many couples would have crumbled under that strain. But instead of letting it pull them apart, they used the distance to build an even deeper trust. Chris would often send her voice memos with bits of new melodies he was working on. Dakota would respond with snapshots of her daily life on set, small moments, like the sunrise outside her trailer or the laughter of the crew between takes. They built a bridge of small, intentional gestures that made the miles between them feel shorter. Still, this wasn't a relationship free from challenges. Media pressure was one of the biggest. Every time a rumor circulated or a photo was snapped without their consent, public opinion would form instantly. Dakota once subtly admitted in an interview that she felt the world was too eager to dissect her private life. Chris, in turn, said that the only way to survive in a relationship under the spotlight was to ignore outside noise and focus on what's real between the two of them. Then there was the matter of family, a sensitive and defining part of their journey. Chris, already a devoted father to 2 children from his previous marriage, took his time before introducing Dakota to them. When it finally happened, it was a milestone that signaled how serious things had become. Over time, Dakota began to share holidays and quiet weekends with Chris and his kids, building a natural and genuine bond away from flashing cameras. On the flip side, Dakota brought Chris closer to her own family. She invited him to intimate family gatherings, occasions far removed from the chaos of Hollywood. For Chris, who was used to performing for tens of thousands, there was something grounding about these small dinners, the stories from Dakota's childhood, and the kind of laughter that isn't performed for anyone else. Fans who have followed their journey often feel both frustrated and fascinated. Frustrated, because the couple rarely gives the public open confirmation about their milestones. Fascinated, because the mystery itself seems to protect the relationship's strength. And then came another moment to fuel the speculation, a photograph of Dakota in Los Angeles wearing a sparkling ring on her finger. Media outlets pounced, crafting endless engagement theories. Was this it? Had Chris proposed in secret? In true Chris and Dakota fashion, they stayed silent, neither confirming nor denying. As if to say, if it's real, we'll enjoy it before the world gets to. Over the years, it's become clear that Chris and Dakota aren't in this for public validation. They're not building a relationship for the cameras, they're building it for themselves. And maybe that's why it's lasted. They aren't treating their love like a performance, they're living it like a story that only they fully understand. Now, fans wait and wonder what the next chapter will be. A wedding? A song openly dedicated to Dakota? Or simply more years of quietly choosing each other without spectacle? Whatever it is, one truth stands: their love story shows that real, lasting connection doesn't always need the spotlight to grow. In fact, sometimes it's in the quiet, behind closed doors, that love finds its purest form. And for Chris and Dakota, that may just be the secret to why their bond not only survives, but deepens with every passing day. And maybe that's what makes this story worth telling. Because it reminds us that some of the most powerful connections aren't the ones shouted from the rooftops, they're the ones you almost miss if you're not paying attention.